a certain amount of E hex, a certain amount of P hex, a certain amount of pulse, and a certain amount of Pulsex. So I think you're going to see some trading coming in to sort of get your target allocations. Then you're talking about new money coming in. Well, new money is going to come in the form of PRC 20 holders that are going to sell, right? And what are they going to buy? The one thing they're going to buy right off the bat is Pulse. I mean, that's the name of the network, right? Most people buy Ethereum when you're on the Ethereum network. And then once you satisfy that, then you move on to, some layer twos and some altcoin. But that's kind of how I see it playing out. And I think if you don't judge Pulsex too harshly in the, first days and weeks, you're going to be amply rewarded. But I think Pulse is going to come out of the gate fast and hard. It could likely do a 17x at launch, just right off the bat, boom, going up. And conversely, Pulsex is going to go down 17, right? So that's kind of how
from the first 10-day sacrifice
from launch price, right? So I've gone over this, I've asked everybody I know, and pretty much I think that Pulse can come out at 2 zeros and a 1.7, which would be a 17x. All right. And I also think that Pulse X is going to come out at 2 zeros and a 1.7. But I really think that's what's going to happen. And if that's the case, I think Pulse X is going to dip violently as people try and get their orders in, right? But then, once they're done adjusting their bag size, Pulse X will go up a lot, because after you get your Pulse or your Pulse, what else are you going to buy, right? Well, what are you going to do with your DCA, right? If you have fresh fiat, you're going to go into the asset which is least frothy. We think PHEX is going to pump, right? Because it's going to try and get parity with EHEX out of the gate. So that's going to be expensive. We know Pulse is going to be expensive. So which one out of those three is going to be least frothy? Pulse X. That's where the money's going to go into. So that's why I say don't give up on Pulse X. That will very quickly bounce up. You're going to do well with both. You really are. I would not give my Pulsex bags up easily. Like if you have to give up 3, 4, 5 Pulsex for one pulse, I'm not sure I would do that if I were sitting where you're sitting. Wouldn't do that. I would take my chances on price discovery and try to get a much better ratio. I would take my chances on buying a dip on Pulse, maybe in a month, 2 months. That's what I would do.
So you think that basically it's going to dip immediately? Because I pretty much I over sacrificed really. So I'm just praying that I'll just be able to pull out a little bit, even just because
you say pull out.
Absolutely,
you mean you go to fiat? You're expecting to make profit?
No, just just a tiny bit. I'm just I just put everything I had into it, and I probably shouldn't have done that. So I'm just waiting for this waiting is just killing it. It's killing me.
Yeah, look, man. After launch, you got to give Pulsex 6 months. You gotta. Your future self will thank you. Don't touch that thing for 6 months, man. Let all that volatility pass you by. Now, look, if it does go up, you'll see it, and then if you want to shave a little bit off, shave a little bit off. But I wouldn't do it. Wouldn't do it. I cannot, in good conscience, tell you to sell anything before 100x, 200x. Generally, I mean, if you want to create wealth and get out of the situation that you're in, you're going to have to wait 3 years. If you don't touch your bags for 3 years on a $10,000 investment like that, you should be a multimillionaire.
No, it's much more than $10,000. I just didn't want to. I'm just not going to publicly share it.
Well, then your buffer is even better. So it doesn't matter what the amount is. What matters is, don't kill the golden goose, man. Don't do it. Rather than selling, even though it hurt like hell to make that sacrifice, you should be figuring out ways of creating more Pulsex. How do you do that? You do that through staking your Pulsex, getting this third-party token, and we don't know which ones they will be, but they'll likely in time be like 20 or 30 different choices. And then if you want to sell something, sell those off for your cash requirements. But don't touch your Pulsex. Please don't touch your Pulsex. That's the golden goose. Don't do it.
And I don't believe 1 second that Richard Hart's baby, Hex, which, as we know, is potentially one of the most incredible financial concepts, code, systems of all time, is ever going to suffer against Pulse or Pulsex.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like Pulse will be the appreciation thing. That'll be the pump and dump token. I'm not so sure. I don't know enough about Pulsex, but from what I do know of it, from the burn aspect, could potentially be one of the best asset.
When you look at the network, the system, the backbone of Pulse and PulseX, it's because Richard Hart, through Hex, has made millionaires, multiple millionaires. It's a perfect system that has made these extremely wealthy individuals.
Whatever third party, rewards I end up getting, those I'll likely sell and I'll put them into a stake, whether it's on the Ethereum chain or the Pulse chain. I don't know yet. We have a sense
Yeah.
that Hex on the Pulse chain is going to be more expensive. That would be my surmise. Well, we do know what the yield on Pulse chain is going to be. I mean, if you delegate your Pulse, you're going to get de minimis yield. I mean, a fraction of a percent for a long time, well over a year. And
Yeah.
so
You're,
what are you doing there? You're supporting some validator, but you're really not making a return. You could actually just hang out on a faucet and press the button like a monkey, every
Yeah.
hour
Yeah.
and likely get more. So then what you're talking about is rolling up your sleeves and you're going to be performing immigrant labor, figuring out, which third party application to stake your PulseX into, when to harvest it. Are you going to harvest it daily, every 2 days, every 3, whatever? That sounds like real work to me. And then you're going to have to be a trader and you're going to have to sell that off. And, it's a lot of work. I'll do that max 6 months.
I feel so happy to be in this space. I've never felt better about the money that I have to invest.